Good day, everyone. My name is Maria Paz Grandon. I'm the Head of Division for Public Health Policy and Promotion of the Ministry of Health of Chile. Today, I will talk about Chile's experience and current outcomes after the implementation of Frontofpackage labeling in 2016. I would like to start with a bit of background about the nutritional situation in our country. In Chile, obesity is highly prevalent, with more than 70% of people older than 15 presenting this condition in 2017, and 23% of children in the same situation. Within OECD countries, Chile is currently the number one in obesity and overweight prevalence, with 74% by 2019. In relation only to obesity, Chile had risen from 8 in 2017 to the second place in 2018. Even more critical is the projection for children obesity, saying that by 2030, more than 25% of children younger than 9 will be obese. Chile has implemented many regulations and policies to address this problematic, having shifted from individual policies such as consumer habits and preferences to environmental and population-level policies, such as additional regulation for the industry. These changes were implemented to modify food environments and long-term outcomes in the population, decreasing obesity and overweight by changing systematic and individual habits and dietary patterns. With this in mind, the Law 2006 about food nutritional composition and advertisement was proposed. Its main goal was to generate long-term reduction in the prevalence of obesity and overweight, to control its effect in the incidence and prevalence of non-communicable diseases. To achieve this, a significant decrease in the consumption of critical nutrients such as sugars, saturated fat, and sodium was needed, as well as decreased total calories consumed. This law was implemented in different stages, with each one stricter than the previous. It was first presented in the Parliament in 2007 and was heavily discussed for 5 years with all stakeholders, such as the industry, the academy, politicians, and regulators. Finally, it was enacted in 2012, with 1 year period for the industry to adapt. This period was extended until the bylaw was enacted in June 2016, including more specific regulations, procedures, and detailed descriptions of nutritional thresholds. This first stage only included big business. In June 2018, the second stage started with medium business. A third stage was implemented in 2019 for small business, with micro-business postponed until 2022 in a fourth and final stage. The law has 3 main components. The first one in the Frontofpackage labeling, which is the main focus of this presentation. It is composed of 4 labels with an octagonal design, similar to a stop sign with black background and white letters, and high-end message that indicate in the package when food contains large amounts of sugar, sodium, saturated fat, or calories above certain thresholds in a fixed quantity of 100 grams. Therefore, healthy food has less signs or none than junk food or unhealthy alternatives. The objective was to deliver a clear message to the public, influencing consumer behavior and generating a culture towards labeling checking before buying food. The second component is to regulate food advertising for children. Once Frontofpackage labeling was implemented and food could be easily identified by their nutritional content, advertisement for children in products with high-in signs was banned. This included any symbol, mascot, or image that increase interest from children in consuming, as shown in these breakfast cereal boxes. The industry could then remove the image or reformulate it their product to comply with the regulation and keep their image. It is common now that products use the label sign-free as advertisement of less unhealthy food. The third one is banning any food that has signs in the package from schools. Any time of school market or kiosk must sell healthy foods, sign-free products, fruits or similar. This further pressured the industry into decreased critical nutrients in children's food. It also stimulated parents to send healthy snacks to schools for their children. As Chile had presented the implementation of this law in previous meetings, I will update the information from 2019 to date. As from that year, the implementation of that law and bylaw reached small business, which was one of the most difficult tasks in the process. There were some objections from the industry, but it was successfully implemented in that year. Micro-business were given more time to comply, as they are larger in number and have more difficulties in package labeling, up to 2022. We released a preliminary report evaluating some outcomes from this policy, and several scientific publications were produced on the topic, some of them which we will discuss. For the report, we verified that more than 80% of big, medium, and small business have successfully implemented the policy from a direct revision in the industry and some distributors, such as supermarkets and school kiosks. We also evaluated some outcomes related to market decisions and consumer habits and found a decrease of 14% in sales for breakfast cereals, which are usually not as healthy as thought. B. A decrease of 70% in dessert sales, especially processed foods and with high content in sugar. C. A decrease of 25% in average sugar content for food, which was a great result that could have a large impact in population health. D. A 5 to 10% decrease in average sodium content in food. E. 90% of mothers of preschoolers had a positive perception of the labeling system. As mothers are usually in charge of food buying and consumption in each house, this could represent an important change in nutritional habits. F. The report also presented some results from independent scientific publications that supported the policy. These papers have increased over time and present interesting information and outcomes related to this implementation, so we will review some of them. A study of the University of North Carolina found statistically significant decrease of 23% in the consumption of sugary drinks, including fruit juices and sodas. They also found that calories consumed from these drinks decreased in almost 28%, and that sales of all these products were reduced, with the industry decreasing their sugar content to avoid the high in sugar label. Another study found that the presence in the market of high-in products was reduced by 7% in 1 year, from 2018 to 2019. Products with high-in sodium and sugar labels were more likely to disappear from the market or to be reformulated. This change induced a statistically significant reduction in the average content of sugar and sodium of the studied products. Other studies found that children's exposure to food advertisement for high-in products was reduced by almost 60%, a reduction for market share in high-in sodium and sugar products as early as 2017, and a 15% decrease in marketing and advertising for breakfast cereal boxes for children. All these outcomes show that the policy is being effective in reducing children's exposure to food advertisement and population consumption of unhealthy foods, as well as affecting the formulation of products. In 2020, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the efforts for implementation were continued. It was expected that the consumption of unhealthy food could increase because of lack of access and market problems. Nevertheless, a survey applied during the pandemic showed that the population still checks for package labeling and signs before buying groceries, with most of the people surveyed indicated that a healthy nutrition and health foods were essential in this situation. This reaffirms that we are doing a good job implementing this policy and that people is developing a culture of package labeling and its importance. All these results, as well as the international recognition, have reassured that Chile's efforts are going in the right direction. Several countries have implemented similar regulations, such as Uruguay, Colombia, Peru, and Israel, with others in process of implementation, such as Argentina and Mexico. We are glad that the international collaboration and local efforts could help in the adoption of this policy, and we are available in provide support if needed to implement it locally. As with every implementation, there have been multiple difficulties and challenges. These issues are related with stakeholders, regulators, and market surveillance, such as A. Developing local and international alliance task forces. As food regulation involves several aspects such as economy, agriculture, and health, coordination between ministry and the industry has been difficult. B. The implementation of the policy in microbusiness has been problematic, as they are the most abundant type of food industry, the less regulated, and that usually have fewer resources, economic and professional, to modify their packaging. Nevertheless, implementation programs have been launched and support is being provided. C. The market surveillance and policy comply from the industry has been difficult to supervise from the regulatory aspect. A national food surveillance program is being coordinated with other ministries, but its development was halted because of the pandemic. Outcome assessment for the policy has been difficult. As this implementation is recent, there is no clear consensus on what, how, and why to evaluate for the policy. There are some ideas, and we expect to have a clear outcome assessment program in the next years, with the help of the network. E. Finally, we address that this policy is not enough for controlling all aspects related to non-communicable diseases such as metabolic, cardiovascular, and others. We expect to implement several new approaches, such as multimobility care, to improve this problem, but we are aware that multi-system measures such as economical, educational, and health aspects are needed. To conclude this presentation, this is the link to the official webpage of the policy of the Ministry of Health. If you want to look for the bylaws, some examples of the package labeling, and review the outcomes assessed in the 2019 report. Thank you very much for your attention. We are available to collaborate if you need it.